Hey guys, Jason here again with another video, and today I want to talk about Mark Sanchez. The Mark Sanchez injury. He will be out for the rest of the year. This was reported 2 days ago now, I believe, on September 11th, 2013. It was confirmed by Dr. James Andrews that he has a right labral tear, which is in your shoulder. That is, of course, his throwing shoulder. It happened in the fourth quarter of I believe, the third preseason game. He was in there. As traditionally when you put backups in, but he was in there, and he got injured. He got sacked, got injured, and was in a lot of pain. Was down for a while, and it was speculating, you know, since that injury, will he be back this year at all, or will he, whatever, be on injured reserve or the pup list, where he be back in week 6? It turns out he will most likely have season-ending surgery, and that is what Dr. James Andrews confirmed on September 11th. All right, well, overall, I don't know. I just think that the way the injury happened, Mark Sanchez will not be a member of the New York Jets next year. In 2009, I believe, when he was drafted, it was speculation why he was drafted so high, because traditionally USC quarterbacks in the NFL do not have bright careers, or long careers. You take a guy like Matt Leinart, for example, recent years. The only really notable quarterback from USC that's had success would be Carson Palmer, and he is now with the Arizona Cardinals. Was with the Bengals for a while, and the Raiders. But back to, it was speculation then, and then he was good for the first couple years. A lot of people don't know. Was going to took the team to the AFC Championship game. A lot of people don't remember, rather. And then he's been sliding the last couple years. That, I think, is due to not only him, I think it's a whole team effort with the New York Jets the last couple of years. Of course, last year with Tim Tebow, but the year before that, even, the team kind of slipped because the offensive line got worse and they lost some guys, and the offense, they lost some guys. That's not an excuse, though. He still didn't look good the first year, so year 3 and year 4 last year. With with the Tim Tebow experiment, rather, that kind of shattered his, I guess you want to say, time in New York, and he played like horrible. Of course, you had the butt fumble controversy that was played on ESPN over and over and over, and you got guy talking about him, how bad he was, and he was, honestly, it was bad. He was an elite quarterback for the first couple of years, but then last year especially. And then, going into this offseason, what are they going to do? How are they going to sign a backup? Is Tim Tebow going to be there? Tim Tebow was finally traded. I believe he was traded or released. Was on the Patriots. Of course, he didn't do much with that. I'll get to that in a minute. I'm going to talk about that. But they drafted Geno Smith, as we all know, and then there's a controversy. Part of me thinks that, and I hate to say this, I hate to speculate, but part of me thinks that Rex Ryan did this to kind of get rid of the quarterback controversy. Either settle on one guy, even though he's a Mark Sanchez guy. He wants to save himself in New York. He wants to keep his job. And honestly, I think if Sanchez would have continued, at the pace he was last year, especially, Rex Ryan would be out of a job. And either way, now I don't think he'll be safe after this year. But it is Geno Smith's team now, for this year especially. And I don't. Hopefully, my fear is that Geno Smith a couple years from now will be the same thing that Mark Sanchez is going through. Unfortunately, we'll see. We'll see when that time comes. But yeah, I don't think Mark Sanchez will be a quarterback next year for the New York Jets. Especially, it's hard pressed for me to think he would be a starting quarterback in the league next year for any team, even the Jaguars, and they're a horrible team. Of course, the Raiders have Terrell Pryor now. That's another top team that would need a quarterback possibly, and you got. I think he could be a backup once he gets his arm repaired. And does a lot of rehab. Is, like I said, it is only speculation. He will go out on a knife at this point. Seems likely. It is not known yet. He has kind of shot down the rumors with Ed Warner, I believe, and Chris Mortensen. Sorry if I pronounced anything wrong, from ESPN. So we will see. We'll see that in the future. That'd be interesting to see what happens with Mark Sanchez. Geno Smith, though, I think will. I've heard a lot of other guys say this online. I think he will surprise some people. Yesterday, obviously with that game versus the New England Patriots, rather, it was a toss up, and I don't know. He didn't look good to me. I didn't really see much of the game. I saw some of the highlights. The first game, he kind of got lucky with the Buccaneers though, and of course, getting that penalty and stuff. We'll see how that turns out though. I think there's some promise with Geno Smith, and see what they do if they draft a quarterback this year, because I don't think that their backups, will be able to. I don't think Brady Quinn is going to take over Geno Smith's job at all. It'll be Geno Smith or bust for this year. As far as Tim Tebow go, I know I did want to say that Tim Tebow was part of the Jets last year, and was with the Patriots this year. I believe it was. He was caught during training camp. Everything kind of goes together. But he was caught during training camp by the Patriots. Has been offered a contract with the LA Kiss, and for those unfamiliar, LA Kiss is a arena football team owned by the Kiss, the rock band with Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley, and the rock band from the 70s and 80s. They've been kind of resurging in the last couple of years with a bunch of tours with Motley Crue. But they own an arena football team now. They had offered him a 1-year contract, I believe, to sign with the team. I honestly don't think he will do that. I honestly think he will want to be a NFL starting quarterback, which I don't think will happen. He will never get that chance again, unfortunately. If he wants to be an NFL player, I think even he will have to change his position and maybe be a tight end, maybe a running back or whatnot, or be a blocker in some way, because he just doesn't have the arm strength to, I think, throw the ball. Maybe he can catch the ball, maybe he can block. We will see. We'll see what he can do. I think another option for Tim Tebow was to go to the CFL, the Canadian Football League, kind of sharpen his skills for a couple years, and then come back and see what happens. But that's it for that. That's basically it for this video. What do you guys think will happen with both Tim Tebow and Mark Sanchez after this year? Do you think they will be back in the NFL even? Do you think Mark Sanchez will be back with the Jets next season? I want to see what happens with that. That'll be interesting going forward. Honestly, for a fantasy perspective, if you're interested in that at all, I don't think Geno Smith is worth anything at this point. Until he proves a little bit, if you're in need of a backup quarterback for that, I play a little bit of fantasy football. So that's it for this episode of Sports Buzz. Thank you guys for watching. Please let me know what you think about this video. If you have any sports topics you want me to cover, I will do those. I have an album review corner coming up next week. Hopefully get that done. I have a Jukebox of Ghosts with their 2012 album Safe Travels coming up here. I also have an AC/DC review that I will get to hopefully next week. I've been putting that off a little bit. Hopefully I can get some time to do those reviews. Again, thank you guys for watching this episode of Sports Buzz. Have a nice day. Please subscribe if you enjoy this. Bye-bye.